book is I Wore the Ocean in the Shape of a Girl. It's a memoir. Thank you for joining me, Kelly.
Thanks, Barbara.
Is this your first trip to the Miami Book Fair?
No, it isn't. I've been for each of my poetry collections as well. I always love coming to the fair.
It's a great time. Are you going to be speaking later or signing books?
Yes, I'm speaking at 3 o'clock on Art of Memoir panel, and then I'll be signing afterwards.
And this book is a memoir, and it's about a very difficult addiction problem with alcohol.
Well, it does include that narrative as well. The primary story is my search to find my son, who I had given up for adoption,
Hmm.
and the parallel narrative is also the story of my addiction to alcohol and my recovery.
And you were very young. You gave your son up to your aunt and uncle?
Yeah, to somewhat distant relatives, yes, my aunt and
Hmm.
uncle.
And what was that decision? Why did you make that decision?
Well, I didn't feel that I would be a good mother. I was 19 years old. I was near the height of my active alcoholism. Um, and it wasn't until after he was born that I felt that I actually could be his mother.
Hmm. Okay. And after you gave him to your relatives for them to
Hmm.
raise him, you found out that he had an illness.
Yes, he was diagnosed with leukemia at 9 months, and he died at 14 months.
Hmm. And they kept that from you, that information from you?
No, they didn't keep that information from me. But the information was mediated through my parents, and a lot of what I knew about my son and his life was overheard, half heard. Much of it was misunderstood and the wrong information. So it was the book is the journey to find out um, what his life was like, who he was, how he died.
And what was that journey like for you to find out?
Well, what it revealed to me was this parallel story of the struggle to take action in my own life. It took 27 years until 2009. He died. He was born in 1981. He died in 1982, and I finally went to visit my relatives, his adoptive parents, in 2009.
And what was that meeting like?
Well, it was very revealing. It brought him back to me in a way that I believed that by writing the book it would take me to him, though I didn't know how. And I was I was surprised that it actually did do that. That it brought me to him in ways that I could never have imagined.
In writing a memoir like this, did you did you map out, I know this is kind of difficult to probably to answer this question,
Hmm.
but did you map out certain events in your life that you knew that you wanted to include in the memoir, or did you just kind of do a free flowing writing of your life?
Well, I knew that I wanted to write it in the way that I would write a poem, so that it needed to be about discovery. But there were uh, questions that I knew that I needed to have answered. And I also had really wonderful readers at the beginning as I was drafting the manuscript. And I had maybe 10 chapters, and I said, what is it that you need to know as a reader? Not everything I included, but much of that feedback allowed me to say, okay, let me, bring in my son's father, or all these other elements that I might not have thought of otherwise.
When writing a memoir, do you feel it's I was speaking with someone who writes poetry earlier today, and I asked him about having his unique voice and the concern about bringing in criticism or comments from readers early on because you may lose your voice. May get overworked. So when writing your memoir and bringing in readers, how much of that can you maintain a sense of your own individual unique voice and struggle and actually answering their questions at the same time.
Well, I did very little workshopping of
Mhm.
the memoir, as opposed to my poetry. I did quite. I received my master's degree in poetry and did quite a few poetry workshops, but I only did really two short workshops on chapters at the very beginning of the book and then kind of near the middle. But the rest of it, I had three trusted readers, and they had been reading my work for years, and there was it was only an enhancement. There was no detriment at all, and certainly, it was had no effect on my voice.
Okay. And today, when you're going to be speaking, what is it going to be the topic today?
Well, I'm going to read very brief selections from three different chapters. So I'll begin with the first chapter, which is my son's birth, evidence of things unseen, and then so 1981, a bit from 1982, and then a jump to 2002.
Okay, great. As far as I Wore the Ocean in the Shape of a Girl, where did that title come from?
Well, it comes from two things. The ocean, the beach is part of the geography of the book. I grew up on several different beaches, and it's always the ocean has always felt like a refuge and a spiritual home, the place where I'm happiest. And it also references a dress that I wore when I was 4 years old as a flower girl in a wedding. And it was this beautiful blue dress that came out in waves. And what it felt like to me as a child was as if I were wearing the ocean.
Oh, that is it's beautiful.
Thank you.
That is
Thanks.
beautiful. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me
Thanks.
today.
Thanks. Thanks for having
And
me
I
on.
will leave you in the hands of Lynn. She will make sure you get to your next station, next interview. Hold up a copy of your book for the video. Everyone get a
Thank you.
copy. Thanks.
My
Thank you, Kelly.
post-its.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.